Welcome one, welcome all. Thank you so much for joining us for another fun episode of Athletics LLC. Week in and week out, we keep joining each other on these four tiles and having some fun conversation. So let's see what we have in store this week. As every other week, we've got three lovely gentlemen joining us. I've got Lamar Denounce White Supremacy Huffins, Clyde, and last but not least, Lucius. Gentlemen, it's already been a week. Right?
Listen,
absolutely.
All right, so we're gonna make sure we have fun tonight, and that way we can smile and feel a little lighthearted after some of the debacle that we've experienced already. So, starting off on the good foot, if you could watch any Olympics from the past in person, which one would you pick and why?
I guess I could jump in on this one. This is actually quite difficult for me, and I'm sure my gentlemen on the panel here will ultimately break my tie somehow, some way. But for me, it's a toss-up between, for me, what is obvious, 1936, Jesse Owens. That is the obvious throwback Olympics that I would love to, just kind of drop in the time machine and witness firsthand. But from the more contemporary times, honestly, it's 2012, simply because way too many of my contemporaries and my actual friends competed in that. And I watched it brilliantly, from afar on television, but being in London Stadium, which is actually my favorite stadium in the world, would have been awesome. So between the people that I know and are closest to in this business, watching them perform live and the ultimate throwback meet, those are my two. I'm sure I'll circle back around to one by the end of this.
For me, there's two that really stick out for me. I really thought about, Jesse and what he did. And actually there's more than two. And when I started thinking about it, I think it would have been very interesting to be there for the 68 games, and especially after the protests. As from a pure excitement angle, I don't think anything beats London, but I cheated. I was there already, so why go back, right? So, but the other one is like I thought the 92 games were outstanding. I remember having that's when the cable company came out with the gold, silver, and bronze packages of all you get. I could barely afford to pay my cable bill. Let alone be adding stuff to it. But, I got that gold package, and I videoed every single minute of that games that I could find. And so it would be 92 for me. Absolutely. As far as the total games themselves. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting, gentlemen. First off, kudos to you, Mouse, because I think, I'm sorry,
Lucius.
Let me call you by your legal name, Lucius. You and I think, are two of the 7 people in the country that bought the, if I think about it long, I don't remember the name of the package, but I had 127 hours of Olympic coverage recorded at one point in time, all on VHS.
Just same here. I have no idea where it is now, but I definitely
I don't either.
That's funny.
But they had you got to understand, they had the prelims of every single track event. We saw
every event,
everything.
There was a field event angle to this. You got everything. You got with the gold package, you got everything. Yeah,
for sure. And I will say also kudos to you, young Clyde. It's obvious the 36 Olympics for you. I think between those two, for sure, you should pick the 36 Olympics, because nothing of that type or caliber probably has happened in your life since you've been on this planet. But for me, and maybe this
was around in the 36.
Correct. Correct. I took the boat first of all, can we talk about this? They took a boat for 45 days to get there.
Yes.
So we always talk about like, how do we train for the trials and like, how do you train for that? Like 45
when
days
did they
of
have
training.
the trials if it was 45-day travel?
Exactly. They had the trials like the
A
better
year
question is, when
before?
was the Olympics, right? You know what I mean? Like, and then there was 45 days of training on a boat. Whole nother story. Anyway.
And let's not pretend that Jesse and the crew had like prime seating on the boat.
Right.
Right. Or prime food or prime anything else. Although the food and stuff on the boat was probably better than it would have been at home. Another long story. But for me, and I don't know if this is cheating or just God's blessing, so I'm going to go with the latter. Because I've been around, I've been in a room full of Olympians, and I've been in a room full of Olympic medalists, and I've seen what happens when the 68 Olympic medalists walk in. For me, there is absolutely no question it's the 68 Olympics for every reason. For one, like there were world records broken in the men's 100, women's 100, men's 200, men's 400, men's 4x1, women's 4x1, high jump, pole vault, decathlon, 4x1, 4x4, and I think both hurdles. So track meet wise, for sure, best track meet ever. The historian and at times rabble rouser in me would love to have been in the stadium and been in the village for all that was going on in the 68 Olympics and in the 68 in the world of 1968 in the United States. But then, you know, like there's little cheat codes to stuff, like the fact that I could have seen at that time Cassius Clay win Olympic gold medal in boxing. Like, oh, okay, I'm good with that. You know what I mean? Like the 68 Olympic team was just insanely talented, as are most Olympic teams, but that one just seems to be even more talented than any other. So for me, just to sit and watch a meeting and hit the popcorn and then do what I always did in the Olympics on off days, go to see other things, 68 Olympics in Mexico City, even though it felt like I was breathing through a straw, I would love to have been there.
Now, see, I figured, you know, the 68 was going to get a lot of coverage from y'all, and rightfully so. And for all those reasons, it's not a bad answer at all. I would love to see that as well. Now, Lamar, when you start extrapolating it out to the other things that were going on, I might lean more back towards London. The swimming, the gymnastics, like, man, I mean, you know, the basketball team, like all of that at one time, like London was pretty amazing. And, you know, so for me, you know, being that level of expanding it out, I think London would probably take it over for me. But, you know, the history of 68 and 36 are unmatched.
Yeah, I think from the historical standpoint and the historical things that happened and the things that Jesse overcame, you know, the things that, you know, were fought by the 68 crew, you can't overcome those. And, you know, for me, if I had to been in London, I would have chose London because the games themselves, from the track meet and everything outside of it, the swimming was just unreal. You know, I think there was some pretty good tennis played in those games too. I think some Williams sisters maybe showed up or something like that.
Yeah, you know, these random girls, Williams, yeah. They were pretty good.
Yeah.
The funny part is that they were in the Olympics in 2000 with me.
Wow.
So, like they were in everybody's Olympics. You get a little bit of, and you get some Williams sisters, and you get some Williams sisters.
Yeah. Yep.
I will give swimming credit. Like the swimming venue is always out of control every Olympics. Like you can pretty much guarantee that like 85% of the records are going to get broken at the Olympics in swimming. Sure. It just is what it is.
Well, you know what, the excitement of it, it's a lot like indoor track, right? Because it's so intimate and it's all enclosed and it's so freaking loud. Like the loudness comes across on TV. Mm-hmm. So I can only imagine.
Trust me,
how
it's
loud
twice
it is.
as loud.
Right.
It's twice as loud in the building.
Oh, of course. But I mean, like in that particular, in London, man, some of those races and obviously the historical drama that everybody had going on with Phelps and all that, like that. Like that's I might have watched more of the swimming that year than I did of the track and field. Like the swimming was amazing.
Got it. If anyone's not,
Olympic water polo is off the chain too. If you ever go to the Olympics and get extra, because those are tickets you can usually get. It's worthwhile. It's worthwhile.
If no one is familiar with all the references dropped, please Google them. They are super awesome. Or I guess, can you Google 36?
Oh yeah.
You can get some text on
Yeah.
it, maybe not some video.
Absolutely.
They got some black and white, grainy video of 36 somewhere.
Yeah.
Got it. All right. So let's build off of that little piece of history, right? Name some U.S. sprinters, women sprinters. Here I go again. Name some U.S. women sprinters who seem to be forgotten for their great achievements.
I'm gonna go first, and I'm only gonna pick one person because I don't want to steal other people's.
No. Do you, dog?
I think for me, one, because she was great in the midst of a lot of other greatness, is Gwen Torrance, and two is because she was great really, really fast and then left to do other things. I just think that when you have a monstrous collegiate career and then you don't really have a pro career, people tend to forget like how really good you were. But Holly Heish, I don't want to say her name wrong. I think that's right. From Indiana State to win the NCAA championship in the 100, 200 from there. I'm not 100% sure she won a high school state championship. If she did, she won one. And to win the national championship is just absolutely monstrous. And she did it with librarian glasses on and a singlet that was too big. And she beat a who's who of collegiate sprinters at that time. And so I'll pick those two just because I think they did some pretty outstanding things. And in Gwen's case, she did almost everything and nobody really ever talks about it.
Yeah, I agree with Gwen. Gwen was phenomenal at all phases, high school, college, and post collegiately. And I don't think the people give her the credit that she deserves. I mean, people forget she was. I think did she win the Olympics and get disqualified? Definitely, either Olympics or World in the 200 and got disqualified for stepping on the line.
World in the 200.
Yeah, but I'm gonna go on a bigger scale, and I think the one person that I'm gonna go to right away, and I'm not gonna say she's totally forgotten, but I don't think she gets the respect she deserves, and that's Evelyn Ashford. I don't think anybody understands Evelyn's. I'm so sorry, Clyde.
Well, I didn't think anybody was going to name Evelyn because we have just. I mean, obviously the three of us.
But
I'll
I'll move on from Evelyn because clearly Clyde wants to talk about Evelyn, so I'll let Clyde talk.
No. Do you?
But no, I was just going to give her a little. But we've talked about Evelyn a little bit. But I think the other two for me that I think they're really looked over, like Chandra Cheeseborough. I think Cheese ran like 11.1. She 22 seconds. She was Olympic silver medalist in the 400. She was the first one that did the 4x1 and the 4x4 double, while getting a medal in the 400. The other one was obviously for me, Valerie Briscoe Hooks. She wins the 4, she wins the 2, and she's a 3-time gold medalist in those games. So I think that those are two women from that era that I think that are greatly overlooked, and both have phenomenal careers and really got it done.
So this was kind of complicated for me. Chu, if you could repeat the question one more time for me.
This dude right here.
No, I'm serious.
Names.
No, we can tell you're serious.
You do. You look very, very pensive.
Yeah.
What I heard was country of origin. Can I get it in a sentence?
Right.
Okay, Mr. Clyde, here we go. Name some U.S. women sprinters who seem to be forgotten for their great achievements.
Okay, so it was achievements, and I wanted to make sure because a lot of people may hear that question and go specifically to maybe Olympics specifically. But for me, you know, there are 2 global championships, and the one that happens more often is obviously the World Championships. So for me, the World Championships and the Olympics, you know, when it comes to medals and accomplishments, like all that stuff, you know, lands on the same level for me. And so if we're talking about women's sprinters that don't get enough credit, don't get enough recognition for the greatness that they had, the 2 that like Evelyn's an easy one. I mean, I said Evelyn was the GOAT when we were having the conversation about that. So, you know, for me, I'm always throwing Evelyn out there, and a lot of people forget, you know, her greatness, but we've all gushed about Evelyn. So for me, the 2 people that I wanted to throw out there and talk about are people that most definitely do not get enough credit for how good they were, especially considering the times in which they competed and all the nonsense that was swirling around in the sport. Inger Miller and Lauren Williams. Inger Miller and Lauren Williams are 2 of the greatest American sprinters that we have ever had. And Inger lost time, money, and medals because of Marion Jones and her nonsense. And Lauren Williams, who knows how many opportunities she lost over all the stuff that was swirling around in her time. I mean, Lauren has a gold medal in the 100 meters from 2005. She has relay golds. She's got a silver from Osaka in 07. You know, Inger has golds from the world, silvers from the World Championships in the deuce. Like those 2 women, and they were always staples on all of our 4x1s.
So you meant to say Lauren has a gold in the 100 from the Worlds in 2000.
World Championships.
You said Olympics.
Oh, I'm sorry. World Championships 2005, World Championships 2007, gold, silver.
Right.
And those 2 women were always a part of the relay stuff that we had going on. So for me, those women never get the credit that they deserve. And if it wasn't for, you know, some of the ills in our sport, I think that they would be much higher on the pedestal of greatness where they belong righteously. So Inger Miller, Lauren Williams.
I'm gonna the Inger one. I kind of overlooked Inger, so I apologize to Inger. I left Lauren Williams alone when you gave me the look about Evelyn, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna leave this one there. And if you didn't say it, Lauren, I was coming back to Lauren. Okay, but I left that there just in case. You know, I you know, knowing you as I do, I knew because I know you're a big fan. But another person I'm gonna lump in there too is Tori Edwards. You know,
Sure. Yeah, sure.
She's another one. You know, just really got it done at all levels, and you know, doesn't get the credit that she deserves either.
Well, it's funny. Like, I couldn't agree with either of you more. Like I said, I wanted to downplay my answer a little bit because I didn't want to go too far, and nobody mentioned this person, so I'm definitely I'm going to add my my quote unquote B team. One is Dawn Sewell, because at the end of the day, she may very well be the best female collegiate sprinter ever. When you consider all things, right? I'm saying if you consider all things, right? You got 100 champ, 200 champ, 4x1 champ, 4x4 champ, same meet. 3 of those 4 collegiate records, right? And unfortunately, like it's sometimes like if you stop before you ever get to your greatness, sometimes people assume it, if that makes any sense. So because we never got to see what she was like post-collegiately, at least in my mind, she gets lumped in that group of great ones, even though she was great collegiately, we never got to see anything post-collegiately. And then the other one, and this is the funny one, this is how much she gets overlooked. No one ever talks about this person because she won an Olympics that didn't include the Eastern Bloc, but she was the first person to win the 4-2 double at the Olympics. Valerie, I think at the time, Briscoe Hooks.
Didn't I just say that?
He did.
No.
Yes.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I just said that.
He did.
Yeah.
He did. You missed it. You were cupping
I was
us.
paying attention, but not
I was
paying
here to
attention.
say the bad mofo, isn't it?
I clearly said Valerie and Cheese. And I mentioned that she won 3 gold medals.
I heard cheese. I you know what? Honest to God, I missed it. I'm so sorry.
Well, no, clearly you did.
We're going to say it again.
You're ranting like, oh, how dare you disrespect Valerie?
We're going to say it again. She's a bad mofo. How about that?
Absolutely.
If you win the 4-2 double, you a bad mofo.
Yes.
I'm gonna throw one more in there, and some people may debate me on this because ultimately she finished in the worst spot, 4th. Muna Lee. Like, of all the women to come out of LSU, like Muna was always just right there. And I thought Muna had a phenomenal career, and just, you know, ultimately never got that medal that she was chasing so brilliantly. But she did things the right way. And, you know, Muna is, you know, I love that girl. I love watching her run. I was always a fan. She got a unique style. And Muna was a gamer. Like, Muna would always, you know, pop up when people weren't thinking about her and come through. So shout out to Muna. I've always been a big fan of Muna.
Nice. Any last minute thoughts? I see wheels spinning, so.
No, I just want to make sure he heard us say Valerie. That's all.
Oh, okay, really?
Hey, look, you came hard on that one. Man, it's just telling you how obscure this is. Nobody ever thinks about it. You even mentioned her, and like she got mentioned like 2 minutes ago. So we still love you, brother.
The iPods, you know, they don't always, you know.
Yeah,
Clearly.
you know, sometimes it's technical
It's not,
difficulties.
clearly there's no internet problems here, so I don't know what your problem is. So.
And I'm not talking like this time, so.
Not yet, anyway.
I know.
Not yet.
Anyhow, moving on.
Well done, gentlemen. Well done. I think we did a really good job with that topic.
So let's get even better at this replay of history and now put it into the future. What are your medal predictions for the men's 400-meter race at the Olympics in Tokyo 2021?
Jesus.
No
pressure. It'll be written down.
Look on Clyde's face right now is priceless. Like, ooh. So who wants to go first on this one?
I'll go first, damn
You
it.
can go first, but before he even gives an answer, because somebody in the audience is gonna go ahead and say it while they're watching the show. So I'm gonna go ahead and say it now. I'm doing this under protest. It's September in the middle of a pandemic. This is a ridiculous thing to be making predictions right now, but we're gonna do it anyway because that's what
we're gonna do it anyway.
So Clyde already has his $50 check and his protest card ready to go.
Right.
Ridiculous.
Right.
Ridiculous.
You know what? What we do is no track. Go out on a limb and pontificate.
And if it happens, see now if it happens, you're out in front of it. You don't have to go. You have to circle the wagons behind it. Hey, I should have talked about this. You know, 11 months ago.
Oh, I'm gonna have my "I told you so" banner ready.
Exactly, because you're the guy to. Hold on a second. The thing that I find amazing here and very amusing is that it's ridiculous to predict the 400 in October, but you sure picked up. You predicted the 100 a month ago.
I mean, this is what we do.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So if it's
and he can do the 400 hurdles right now too.
Exactly. You predicted the 400 hurdles. You predicted the 100, but it's ridiculous to predict the 400.
It's all ridiculous. I know someone out there pounds the fist and says y'all shouldn't be doing this, so I'm gonna go ahead and say it. So they, you know, I put it out. Yeah, it's ridiculous, but that's what we're gonna do.
But it's ridiculous now. But it wasn't ridiculous when you did it.
It's always ridiculous.
But you didn't call it ridiculous.
Oh Lord. Okay. I'm just gonna stick my three out there.
Priceless again because
it's absolutely priceless.
Exactly.
I'm gonna stick my three out there. I'm gonna say I believe in this somewhere in the neighborhood of 85%. but
the same probability that the meet will happen, right? 85%.
Right, exactly. You know, same odds actually happens in China. In Tokyo. Jesus, wow. Been one of those nights. I am going to pick Van Niekerk with the recovered Achilles knee, right? He hurt his knee and his Achilles. I think he did it anyway. He did an ACL and then he had like not an Achilles tear, but something else to it. But anyway, I'm gonna say Van Niekerk, Stevie, that's his name, right? From the Bahamas.
Stephen Gardner.
Yeah, so Van Niekerk, Stevie, and I'm gonna pick Mikey for third.
Mr. So that's in order.
That is in order. Gold, silver, bronze.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Oh, you like for me to go? Okay, so
I can go.
I mean, I can go again if you want.
we know you have no problem doing that. So, but
I'm just saying.
go ahead, Clyde.
I think Lamar has the right three. I just think he's got them in the wrong order. I think he's got the right
Fancy
three
that.
in the wrong order. I'm gonna, man, this is hard. I'm a big fan of Wade Van Niekerk, and I really want to see him back because I want to see that showdown with everybody at their highest level. I actually think, given everything he's coming back from, his highest level is more akin to be Eugene 2022. So for 2021, I have Wade there and I have him medaling, but I think he ends up third behind Steven Gardner in second. And I think Youngin is going to shut everybody up and come through, maybe threaten the record, maybe not, but I think he's on a mission. I think he's heard a lot of what I believe to be unwarranted chatter next to his name. And I think Michael Norman's going to come through and get the gold medal.
The ultimate champion of the underdog.
Chew, please write
write
these down and the dates.
You don't need to write them down. They're on film.
And
write them down. Write them down. Because it's easier to get to the
film. It's all tape.
It's easier to get to notes than get to the tape. But so, you know, that's cute. You know, I'll give you that. I love how you champion, like, you know, the passion that you put into these is just amazing for me. It really is. I love it. You know, but I happen to disagree. So I'm gonna go with I'm gonna put Norman in the bronze position. That's where I'm gonna put him. I'm going Wade for the silver. Stevie Gardner's winning the 400, and it won't be close.
Won't be close, he says.
Wow.
Not be close.
So we all have we all have the same three guys.
We
all have a totally different order. That is very cool. Actually.
And I want to be honest with you. You know, like I believe in Mr. Norman's talent as much as you do, but we got to show up. Got to show up.
Somewhere Karani James is like, you know what? F all three of y'all.
No, see, and I'll be honest with you. Okay, so like for my bronze, I've got Karani, I got Mike, and I got Fred Curtin. Those are my three for the bronze.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Because Karani's been sick, and I just don't know how much that because if Karani's healthy, then the whole conversation about gold just gets tossed up in the air. Because I don't think any of them can beat that dude when he's healthy, when he's right. That's just my opinion, right? And then Fred, I just didn't see Fred this year, so I don't know what he's doing. You know, he just disappeared. Like he did nothing this year. You know, so for me, that conversation about the bronze is, you know, widespread, but there's something about Stevie Gardner.
So can we stay here for a second? I've actually never asked either one of you all this question, and I'd like to get the answer since we are on this subject.
And because you are our guy, you know we will answer your question. You're going to get an answer. Yeah, you might. Yeah.
So why does Wade Van Niekerk have the world record?
Because he ran faster than everybody else.
Obviously. Now see that's one of them. That's one of them other answers.
Right.
In your opinion, in all seriousness,
I'll give a real answer.
Why did he do what he did in that race?
I think Wade Van Niekerk has the world record because and I'm going to say that he still is, but we're talking about then. He was completely fearless and afraid, and he took the race out so hard that whatever dreams that kickers had of running him down died on the vine like a dream deferred.
Okay, Oh, sorry.
I think that race, I'm not going to necessarily say that the race ends up with different results with different lanes, but I will say it would have been a different race if he wasn't in 8. But the fact that he was in 8 and used all of that to his, I'll say to his benefit, I think is why he has the world record. But at the end of the day, like, we all know that one year's track results have almost nothing to do with the next year's. And now we're talking about for everybody 2 and 3 years ago, right? And so my answer, like I said, I'm 85% sure on this, but my answer is based almost solely on guts and nuts. Like, I think the results are going to end up the way they are because of the people more so than like what they can and can't do.
Fair enough. Mr. Lucius,
That's my answer.
do you have a better answer for me?
Oh, absolutely. You know,
What's
I
wrong
think
with my
that
answer?
No. Better than the one he
better than
offered
the one I
first
did.
time.
Better than the smart
Yours
comment.
was great.
That wasn't an answer.
Oh,
That was
I
just,
thought he meant
that was
better
a,
than my answer.
No, yours was
The
great.
answer I give is going to be better than yours because it's my answer, so don't worry about that. But
I'm
you
sorry,
know,
what?
okay, so I mean, Wade prepped for this. You know, it was a plan over time. If you watch his progression, you know, I have been privy to some conversations that people had with his coach about how they were attacking the record and the things they were doing to prepare for it. So Wade broke the world record because he prepared properly to do so. It's simple for me. You know, like that wasn't something that was happenstance. It's like, it was very well calculated, and that's why he broke the world.
Okay. So I think I agree on principle with both of those angles to my question. And it's because I do that I put Norman where I put him. Wade took LaShawn and Karani and drowned them in the deep water at 300 meters. Like, they could not come back from where he took them. They didn't have the physical ability to go out the way he went out. They wasn't fast enough to do that. Norman has that physical ability to run that fast in the first half. Does he have the ability to survive it? I guess we'll find out.
Oh, Grasshopper, you just said the $1 million phrase.
Does
because the thing that go ahead, Graham, I'm gonna let you finish.
Wait a minute.
I apologize.
I am certain that Norman himself and all the people connected to him want that record. And if they want it, I believe that they will prepare to go attack it in an intelligent way. And so for me, if Wade is healthy, of all the people out there that are running that event right now, only Wade and Mike have the resident foot speed available to go after the race the way it would need to go to play in that arena. If they go out slow and turn it into a kicker's thing, I'll take Stevie all day. I'll take Stevie all day in that. But if the race is going to be run with that mentality, I'm going to bet on Mike. And the crazy thing is, whatever happened in Doha happened. I wasn't there. I don't know it. I can't explain it. I've heard 10 different examples of it. But short of that moment, Michael Norman has shown himself to be a killer at every other level he's ever been at. Everywhere he's been, he's shown to be a killer. So I believe him to be that. And
you know,
guts and nuts,
and
willing to go. He's fast enough to do it. That's why I pick him.
And my counter to that is that I have seen plenty of people be all-stars in elementary school, junior high, and high school, and flop in college. Okay? So until you show me you can party with the big boys, I don't want to talk about it. Okay? Stevie has partied and beaten everybody. Wade has definitely partied and beaten everybody. Okay? So having faith in somebody because you think, okay, see, I'm going to tell you like this. So since we delve into this, the biggest mistake anybody makes in track and field, if you are foolish enough to believe that 986 means you can run a great 400, no, it doesn't.
I didn't say that.
I didn't say it did. I'm giving you my take on this because everybody, as soon as Michael ran 986, he's going to run 42 seconds. No, that doesn't mean that. So I am not discounting Mr. Norman's ability. I'm not discounting the fact that he will be a medical attendant. Okay. My thing is this: is that what Wade did was Wade took care of the bottom and he took care of the top. Okay. Michael hasn't shown me that he's taking care of both ends of it, and until he does, then you're not going to get what you want. Now I know, because I know Stevie's coach very well, and I've actually seen Stevie train because he shows up around here every now and then. Stevie's taking care of both ends of it. People forget he's run 19-7.
Oh, he's definitely bringing that down.
So he can go out with him. He can. Because his PR in the 200 is not much slower than either of theirs. Matter of fact, it might be faster than Wade's. So if Michael's 19.7 and he's 19.7 and Wade's 19.9, why is he going to be swimming when they get there?
So let me ask a question. Clyde predicted a world record in his lineup, right?
No. I said
You said Mikey's going to break the world record or create.
I said he can threaten it. I said he can threaten.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It may not necessarily take a world record to win that race. I think, I will say this, I think 2 people are going to run 43 seconds and end up with no medal, which is going to be crazy.
Yes, agreed.
You think 2 people are going to, you're drunk and high at the same time. No chance.
I think 4 to 5 people will run 43 seconds in that final.
Okay, so history shows that just doesn't happen.
Just doesn't happen.
Just doesn't happen.
Well, history never had 3 people running 43, and it happened in Rio.
History did have 3 people ran 43 seconds at the 88 Olympic trials.
No, but I'm saying
get older.
Wait a minute, I'm talking about the medal places 1, 2, 3. That was the fastest. That was the fastest final. Like, it wasn't at that level. Everything's constantly evolving. I believe there will be 43-second racers in that final that will not medal.
There'll be guys with PBs of 43 seconds.
These are 43 seconds that won't medal. Of course they will.
Mayanga, that's his name?
Yeah, here's the other thing, too.
South African?
You have to,
we didn't even put him in there. Or Botswana.
But here's the problem.
That's what I'm talking about.
You have to factor in the rounds. And when there's when that's as much competition to get to the final, that's when it gets – because, see, the thing that people forget is, like, why was Wade in lane 8?
He ran poorly in the semifinal.
He almost didn't make the final. Exactly.
He was playing around in the semifinal.
Exactly. So because he was able to play around, then he had extra energy when he got to the final. He wasn't as fatigued as everybody else. And if you have to expend yourself that much to get to the final, and then this thing of everybody running 43 seconds is, I mean, it's cute. You know, like as my man Lamar likes to say, you know, she's got a nice personality too.
All right. Well, since this is a prediction conversation, and Chu is apparently taking notes, Chu, write this down. 4th place, 43 seconds.
So
no, Chu. Write this down. He said 5. Don't give
up. I said 4 to 5.
No, you said 5.
5. You can put down 5. It's fine.
Put down 5. Don't backtrack now. Don't backtrack.
Chu, put this down. I will bet Clyde, Dominique, whatever his middle name is, Ryan.
William?
I know it's William, actually.
Where Dominique come from?
Because it needs to be Dominique with the shit you're smoking right now. I will bet him almost any amount of money, 4th and 5th place, will not be 43 seconds.
Well, sir, as you know, you're not allowed to gamble on our lovely sport, so there will be no wager.
So
that will not happen.
You are not allowed. We will bet ish talking abilities.
That's fine. I will come on the LLC and eat crow happily.
And you are forever Dominic now. You know that, right?
I mean,
yes. Absolutely. Because Dominic fits.
What's up,
Your
Dom?
name should be Clyde Dominic Ryan.
No, my PR people will not co-sign that.
Actually, no, you're half Italian, right? So it's actually, it's not Dominic. It's Dante.
It's Dante. That's what I was.
Better. I like that better.
Clyde Dante Ryan.
That might get past the committee right there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that was really funny. I have it. It's written down right here.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, I absolutely love your like you go in, dog. It's amazing.
I ain't mad at it.
This dude got collegiate roommates coming home with gold medals. I'm a fan. I'm right there with you. And what you got to understand, what you have to understand, Clyde, is there might not be a bigger Michael Norman fan on this planet than me. Ask Lucius; he'll tell you.
And I'm a fan as well. I'm a fan.
I hear you.
So
I just don't
want
buy
him
into
to win.
and I definitely obviously if I'm the coach, I do want him to win the race. Trust me. Trust me. I'm not gonna be in the warm-up area rooting for Stevie. I'm rooting for Mike. Don't get me wrong now. let's get this clear. Mike get the gold medal. But based on what I've seen, I just think Stevie has taken the right path right now. That's just from my knowledge of the 400 over the years and the people I've talked to and the way the great ones have done it. Stevie's on a different path, and
Well, like I said, it's very interesting that we all had the same 3, totally different orders. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
Now watch.
That is very interesting.
Now, because we did that, you understand Karani or somebody else is going to win the whole damn thing. That's
It's
ultimately
gonna be
what'll end up happening.
Karani, Fred.
Karani, what's my man's name from Botswana?
yeah, that guy.
Mayanga.
Disqualified?
What's his name?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
So it's gonna be Karani.
We'll call him
Botswana.
Dominique. How about that?
Yes, it'll be Karani, Dominic, Botswana, and Stephen Pastor are gonna be first, second, and third.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Shout out to Stephen Pastor, one of the greatest Gators of all time.
Look, you got Lucius to side smile, and there's a little blush that happened. I like
That's
that.
my
That
guy.
was a good.
He knows, man. Listen, I'm not a Gator, and I never will profess to be. But I have been close enough to the head
Look,
Gator to.
I am going to respectfully ask you to stop talking about Stefan right now.
Why?
Just trust me.
Okay, I don't want you to start crying, but the dude's amazing. Anyway, next.
Okay, so talking about all this greatness that's going to happen in the Open Four, should greatness in sports be measured by championships alone?
See that last part.
Absolutely not, and I'll circle back around.
I mean that last part is the part, right? Like by championships alone.
Correct.
I think you have to be drunk and high at the same time to feel like it's championships alone, because we'll just use basketball. Even Bill Russell doesn't think he's the greatest basketball player of all time because he has the most titles. So I'm going to say no, and I'll circle back around.
Most of the media, most of the chatter out there, they don't want to talk about people that have won championships, right? And championships, there's a lot of, I talk about this a lot in certain circles too. Like, sometimes the best guy isn't the guy with the most championships, it's the guy that's always there. The guy, because you know what I'm saying? It's like everybody wants to give LeBron crap because, he's only won, 3? Okay. Well, first of all, how many have you won? 0. Okay, but anyway, the man's been there 10 times, right? So you can't tell me the man's. Look, I don't even want to get into that debate about who's better, him or Mike J. But the bottom line is, you cannot deny this man's greatness when he's been to a championship 10 times, right? So sometimes the guy that gets there every year, the guy that's always got athletes at the show, the coach has always got his team in the semifinal. Those guys are great coaches. Okay. Would anybody say that Marv Levy's a great coach? People don't even know who he is. He took his team to the Super Bowl 4 years in a row.
I'd say
He
that.
lost. Yeah, he lost. But is he a great coach? Absolutely, he's a great coach. What's the quarterback's name?
Jim Kelly.
Jim Kelly.
Jim Kelly a great quarterback? He never won a Super Bowl. He was there 4 times. So I think this whole thing of you can only be great if you win a championship is totally overblown.
I think what happens is, like, you can be great. You can be in the room without championships or with 1 or 2. I think what ends up happening, unfortunately or fortunately, depending on which side you're on, is that championships are the separator, right? So it's like, I got 2 great people. how do I separate them, right? You know, in our sport, it's probably world records, or like if they both have won Olympic gold, like, well, who has the world records? Well, they both have those. Who has most world championships? It becomes like B, C, and D of how you separate. But to Lucius's point, like, to be great, you don't have to win any championships. To be the GOAT, you do.
That's a different tip. That's a whole different conversation.
It's a whole different conversation, right? So, like, I mean, look, we'll pick our sport, and I'll start this because I know we're gonna go round and round about this one, right? Greg Foster, by all accounts, is one of the greatest hurdlers to ever do it.
Ever walk this planet.
He has the most world championship gold medals of anyone. But unfortunately, he was in the Olympics with Roger Kingdom twice. That's a problem.
Yeah.
Right? Roger showed up ready to go in Olympic years. End of story.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so, like, you know, silver medalists in Olympic Games and 6-time or 5-time world champion, like, you're great. But unfortunately, if we start talking about greatest of all time, like, Greg's got to bow out because he doesn't have a gold medal, doesn't have a world record. So it's like you got to have one of those two to be in it.
Right.
I guess.
And so you don't have to have that, you know, that's not your VIP pass to get into the room, you know.
No.
Your accomplishments get you in the room. Now, the thing to get you up on the mantle is those world records and those Olympic titles. But you talk about Greg Foster. How could you ever have a conversation and not put that guy in the room? He gets an automatic VIP pass, right? You know,
greatness in sport, as we have already said, there's a certain bar, and you know, for me, the word that gets left out of all of this in any sport, no matter who the debate is about, is context. No one ever wants to put these conversations in their proper context. Lamar just did. There's a context to the career of Greg Foster, right? The LeBron debate is the ultimate sports debate of proper context. You can be on the side that jumps all over the man and says, you know, has criticisms of his 6 losses in the NBA Finals. Well, hell, how many of those losses was he the favorite? Most of the time he gets there, he's the overwhelming underdog because he has a lesser team, because he's going up against, in a team sport, superior competition. On the other side, Jordan may go 6-0 in the finals, but he was always the best team there. And not just because of him, because of the other people around him. You look at the coaching situation. I was talking about this the other day. Michael Jordan had one coach, Phil Jackson, for all his championships. And you can make the argument.
2 coaches in his career, though.
Yes, but only one with the rings, and that's Phil Jackson. He was so committed to Phil Jackson, he refused to continue to play basketball if Phil Jackson couldn't be his coach. LeBron's taken 5 coaches to their first titles, to the first finals. You know what I mean? It's like there's a context that plays into all of this. And for me, it doesn't matter what the sport is. Lucius, your point about the Buffalo Bills is phenomenal. I don't remember the last team other than the Bills to go to 4 straight Super Bowls. The Patriots haven't even gone to 4 straight Super Bowls.
No team has been to 4 straight Super Bowls.
Except for the Buffalo Bills.
Right. So
but that's
that
the weird thing. Like, that's the weirdest part about it, right? They're the only team to do it, and they lost all 4. So, like, you don't know what to do with that information.
Well, and for me, you know, this is, you know, I was old enough to care enough about sports, and I've gone back and watched all of those games. The first one with the Giants, I can argue they probably should have won that game. But the rest of them, they were the inferior team. They just were. Like, it's not their fault that the you know, the triplet Cowboys were on the other side of some of these things. Like, context matters. So should it only be defined by championships? Absolutely not. That's ridiculous. Rings, championships, hardware, yes. Statistics, yes. The overall legacy of what you've done, who you beat to get said championship matters, because that ain't all the same either. I don't want to hear how great Kawhi Leonard is because he beat a crippled Golden State Warriors team in the finals. You got the title, boss. Congrats. But, you know, pump your brakes on all of that. Do it again when you have to be the man. Oh, you got bounced by the Nuggets. You know what I'm saying? So all of this context, I think, is the biggest thing that gets left out of all of these debates. And it's not, you know, and of course the other part is ageism, right? Because depending on how old you are and what you grew up and who your first official girlfriend in sports were, people got a hard time letting go. And they got a hard time moving on. And, you know, for me, I try to be, you know, I try to be neutral in that regard. Like, I have the people that I grew up with and my favorites. Like, you know, Joe Montana was my favorite player forever. There is photographic evidence of me as a little kid walking around head to toe 49ers gear, Joe Montana 16, all of that. You move over when it's Tom Brady. Sorry, you just do. And for all the people back when that debate was going on, my thing was this. Joe Montana's 4-0, for sure. Sorry, in a team sport, 4-2 is better than 4-0 because getting there is harder. Getting there 6 times, 7 times, 10 times. Why do you get credit for losing earlier? Why is Jordan given credit for losing in the semifinals and the second round and the first round? Like, that's a good thing. He didn't make it to the finals those years. Getting to the finals is harder than getting bounced in the first round. So there's a lot of context.
I mean, there's a lot of context to that fuckery that you just spit out too, but I'm going to leave that alone because, you know, that's a whole nother show. Because trust me when I tell you, LeBron beat like Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe in half of those to get to the final. So we're not going to go through that. And who Joe Montana would have had to have beaten to get to the Super Bowl is also another issue, right? Because he didn't play in the AFC least, who is absolute trash. So, but there's context to all that, and to that nature, you are 100% correct.
Context. All I'm going to say is you got to give folks credit for showing up at the party.
I agree.
So if you had to drive up the mountain to get to the party, and I only had to walk across the street, that's your problem, not mine. I got to the party.
I mean, look, I get it. I'm very comfortable in who the GOATs are all the way across the board. But I do want to say this. I think there's one person who is an anomaly. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, formerly Lou Alcindor, right?
My GOAT, my basketball GOAT.
So here's the thing, right? That if you ask 100 people, 98 people are going to say that the greatest basketball player of all time is either MJ or LeBron. We're not going to debate that. That's not relevant. But I do find it interesting that anybody could ever say this is a two-person race. And the reason I say that is no matter what yardstick you use, Kareem's in the conversation, right? He won a national championship as a high school player, as a college player, and had rules changed for him, and as an NBA player for more than one franchise. Once when he was, young and like the young buck and doing it all, and once when he was like, not once, but I'm saying like, and also when he was like the greatest with the Lakers, and then when he wasn't the greatest when he had Magic. So like he's won titles. You're right. He won 6 rings in basically 3 different scenarios and at least 2 different eras.
But he can't be the greatest because he lost in the finals.
But again, I continue with
although I'm being.
I know you are.
He got the same amount of rings that Jordan has, and he got there more times than Jordan did.
Exactly. He has 6 rings, and he was in the finals 8 times, I think. Is he 6-2? I think that's right.
I believe so.
He has more points.
Yep.
Right.
More everything.
He has
more everything. Right?
And so like I always laugh though, like Kareem is not ever like in the conversation. My 21-year-old child is running around here with a LeBron James jersey because I think he wants me to say that LeBron is the GOAT, which is never going to come out of my mouth, only because I'm never having this argument on camera, one way or the other. I don't care. And what I always say him, and what I will continue to say is this: no one will ever get me to publicly have that conversation about those 2 gentlemen because I just want to feel blessed that I got to see them both play. I hope to live to the end.
I'm skyhooking him to death, baby. Kareem. And that's Homer, that's old school, whatever you want to call it.
It ain't
It
Homer
blows
and it
my
ain't old
mind
school
that
because
he's not in the conversation for most people. That's the part that gets me.
that reality has blown my mind for years, and I've said for years, LeBron is not chasing. LeBron's chasing the GOAT seat. He is. He ain't chasing Jordan's seat. He's chasing Kareem's seat. It is Kareem's throne that he is chasing. Because
and talk about a guy nobody gives any credit to. Lord,
none. No
How
matter
about
which
the
side
NBA
of the argument you want to come at, the Jordan
NBA couldn't give him a job for 2 decades.
right? Because
What are we doing?
Politics. The Jordan people, no matter if you come at the Jordan side of things from any angle you want, Kareem wins that debate. Like, you leave LeBron to the side for now, he's still playing. Right. That's still happening.
Right.
Like, you can't, like, it drives me crazy. It drives me crazy. It's Kareem.
It's not quite true that if you come at the Jordan debate, no, it isn't, because if you do points per game and points per playoff game and records in the finals, again, I'm not making any of these arguments. Trust me, we're not having. That is a 7-hour show with no finality, so we're never having that conversation. I'm just saying.
We're gonna make it happen.
Nope, it's not, because I will look. There'll be a blank tile.
I'm gonna be sick that day too. I'm gonna be sick that day because I'm not doing that either. Yeah.
I'll just say this: the 3 best players to ever play basketball, in no order, are Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Michael Jeffrey Jordan, and LeBron. What is LeBron's middle name? Dominique.
Oh my gosh.
LeBron, Draymond.
Choose looking it up right now.
I am.
And LeBron James. And
we do know this. We looked this up last night. LeBron, Raymond, Raymone, James.
See, I was close with Draymond. LeBron, Raymond.
What's next, Chew?
Because so back to the basic context here is that you don't have to have a million titles to be declared great, and people need to look beyond the rings and look at like I said, the context of their career. The substance of what they did.
Yes.
So.
I mean, let's look at Skeets Nehemiah. Would anybody argue that he wasn't one of the greatest, if not the greatest?
Oh, people would.
How many titles? How many titles does he have?
Less than
exactly. Look, exactly.
But if for those of us who know who Skeets is, oh yeah, they should be thankful that they weren't paying track and field athletes very well, and football took him away. Because I'm telling you right now, the world record would be well below 1280. Trust me, it would.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
that dude right there was
working on that. We're working on that right now.
Oh, absolutely. Like as we speak, we're working on that right now.
Love it. I'm glad that you said his name again.
Yeah, like we're in the lab, we're covered up. We're deep in the lab on that one, brother. Deep.
Everyone needs to go Google that name right now.
Yeah.
If you don't know. Okay, so rounding out our questions for the evening. Okay, so this one's long, so I'm going to read it verbatim right off the screen here. Sure. Acknowledging Clyde's disapproval of the current system of choosing the national champion in football, collegiate champion in football. Who do you think is the best team in the NCAA currently? And what do you think is the best system to choose a national champion?
Ugh.
There's a lot of pieces, so I apologize.
I'm going to say Clemson, and the best system to choose it would be like a 16-team playoff, but that will literally never happen. It
doesn't matter whether it'll happen or not. We want your knowledge as to the best way to do it, sir.
I'm going to say the best team in the country is Clemson, and the best way to do it would be a 16-team playoff.
How do you get the 16?
Yeah, how do you get 16?
Here we go.
Power 5 conference champions, and then fill it in by ways of rankings. Because I think the rankings do a really good job of 6 through 20. I do. Okay. Like, if you look at the rankings on a weekly basis, right? the team that's 18th probably isn't up for debate. You're like, yeah, that's about right. The team that's 15th, you're like, I mean, maybe I picked them, but like, yeah. The only real debate anybody ever like is really, really adamant argues about is like 1 through 4, and it's always because they haven't played each other. It's almost always that, right? So what I'm saying is, if you take the 5 Power 5 champions, that's 5, right? And now you fill in 11 at-large spots. Yeah, we're gonna get everybody in there. 17 has no beef. 17 has no damn beef.
Oh, they
Nobody
will
wants to hear what you have to say. I don't care. Nobody hears what they have to say. That's like when my 8-year-old wants to argue about why he shouldn't eat vegetables. I don't want to hear that. That's not relevant.
That's fair.
So that's my take. That's who's number 1 and how we get there.
I'm not sure about the 16. I cannot. I'll let you explain it. I get it. I was thinking more along the lines of 8, and I don't know. It's hard to get there. We just had so many screwed up ways of getting there. You know, in the past, you just named a champion. You know, I'm that old. You know, so
Me too.
You know,
We are all
Me
now.
too.
and then you get, you get the 2 teams that played for it, and there's were years where these 2 teams played and these 2 teams played, and then this team over here won, but they didn't beat this team over here. That kind of deal, And then we had co-champions, and but I don't know that from a wear and tear standpoint, I don't know if 16 works, because it's just going to last forever. Even though I know we do it at the lower level, at the bowl championship series. And I think that in the FBS, I guess, but I think that for me, if we go to 16, then we're going to have to eliminate some regular season games. That's just my opinion, which I think should be eliminated anyway, but that's another subject, because I think we do too much of the playing of cupcakes. We've talked about that before.
Maybe that'll be something that comes out of this pandemic shortened season.
Yeah.
Maybe people will realize
Yeah.
that 10 regular season games against real opponents is actually a good thing.
Exactly. So I think that I can ride with 16, but I think 8 to begin with is more realistic. And again, I'm not exactly sure how you get there. I don't think guaranteeing the conference champions because you're from the autonomy 5 is the way to go. I don't think that's right, because sometimes that champion might not be long there. I would imagine most years that they're going to be in the top 8, but if they're not, I don't think because you won your conference and your conference was weak, you should get to go to the dance. That's just me.
So real quick, let me stick this in there. Off the top of your head, can you think of any particular year that all 5 Power 5 champions didn't belong in it? Because let's use your number, that all 5 didn't belong in the top 8. See, because remember, mine was 16, so I know they all belong in the top 16 every year. But just using your group, if we just use 8, can you think of a year where all 5 Power 5 champions didn't belong in the top 8 in the country?
No, you're right. I can't.
And so that's why, I start there, just because, that eliminates an argument. We don't have to have that argument. I don't care which one of those 5 is better, because we're going to play it out. I just know that the champion of each of those leagues is in the top 8 or the top 16. My thoughts.
And to your point too, if you take it to 16, then more likely nobody's going to get left out. Because if you take it to 8, 9, 10, and 11 are going to have big issues. And honestly, I really don't know who's the best team in the country right now. I was pretty impressed with Alabama this weekend. They did a good job, and Clemson is Clemson. But I'm going homer on this one, man. I'm riding with the Florida Gators. Why not? Let's do it.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
Okay.
When you get a team, you let me know. Okay. Oh, you have a Gator hat on. My bad.
I have a team. My football team is the University of California Golden Bears, because I have a degree from there. I take L's, and when I take W's, I talk smack. But it is what it is.
This is clear.
Okay. So
Clemson is my football team.
as a
Go Gators.
As a huge fan of the spectacle that is college football.
Shocker. You're a fan of a spectacle.
That's right. I'm a fan of college football. I often get often get incorrectly criticized as if I am not a fan. I am a fan. Love the sport. It's very exciting, pageantry, all of these things. Very, very cool. It is the most illegitimate championship in American sport. It is the most illegitimate championship. Division I college football is the most illegitimate championship in American sport. It is the only sport in America that I can imagine where we don't decide the champion on the field. We decide the champion in voting in back to borrow Lucius's backfilled smoke rooms. We decide who gets access to it, and media pushes narratives and all of these things. Now, I'm gonna spare my usual 20-minute rant on this and just stick to answering the question. I do not know. It is ridiculous. It is ridiculous for me to try to evaluate, especially with COVID going on, who the best team in the country is right now. I'll say this: when there's nothing but chaos going on, I'm gonna lean towards the teams with who I think are the best coaches, and typically the teams who have the most talent. Like in a regular season, in a regular order, you can have some people jump up and surprise people. I think with everything going on, I think with all this chaos, it's why I think the Patriots ultimately are gonna have a great season, because amidst chaos, Bill Belichick's gonna figure it out better than most people do. So for me, this year, given what I've seen, it damn sure ain't LSU. We saw that real quick. Okay, so it's either Alabama or Clemson, and honestly, because of the quarterback, I'll go with Clemson. That seems to be an easy thing to throw out there right now. But as far as what the system should be, to me, this is really, really simple. I've always said that because of the way Division I football is structured, where no one really plays anybody during the regular season. You have your 3 to 4 out-of-conference games, which are trash everywhere. And then after that, you play the people in your conference. So nobody really plays anybody. There's no real way to evaluate. The whole notion that League X is better than League Y, based on what? Because ESPN told you so?
You said you weren't going to do that. You said you weren't going to do that. Answer the question.
I am answering the question.
How are we going to pick the best team?
I am answering the question. So because there's no legitimate way to evaluate strength or weakness of Conference 1 versus Conference 2, the only way to have a legitimate championship with the thing is currently structured is step 1. You take all 5 champions, period, they're in. I like 8. I got no problem with the number 8. 16, too many games, blah, blah, blah. I'm with all that. 8 is a perfectly fine number. So you take the 5 conference champions, they're automatically in, boom, end of story. At that point, every conference gets to make their argument. You can't say, we got locked out, whatever. After that, number 6, the 6th team in has to be the highest ranked non-Power 5 school.
So Boise State, got it. So
Boise State or the UCFs or whoever. The highest ranked non-P5 school, you're in. Now that leaves 2 more spots. Committee, you want to have a job, go in the back smoke-filled room and pick the last 2 teams with one caveat.
For the record, I am the only one that put people in my room. You want to put people in my room?
All right. With
Get your own room.
Caveat though, and here's the distinction. Here's the key. Here's the key. When they go back in those rooms and pull out these last 2 teams, they can't be from the same conference. They cannot. They got to be from somewhere else. So if that means the Big Ten gets 2 in, cool, but you ain't getting 3. The SEC gets 2 in, cool, but you ain't getting 3. So 5 champions. The highest
what about the year that maybe the SEC or the Big Ten or the Pac-12, God forbid, maybe they got 3 that deserve to be there?
Well, they can't have 3 that deserve to be there. I'm gonna tell you why, sir. Because you can't be 3rd place in your conference and earn a shot at the national championship. That makes no sense on its face at all. So if you ain't in the title game of your conference,
so let me just throw this caveat. Let me just throw this caveat out there for you. Okay, so let's just say let's just take a LSU team that got beat by Alabama.
Yep.
Right. Okay. the Alabama goes and wins the championship, and they beat Georgia and they beat Florida, and Florida gets in, right?
Yep.
So those are the best two teams, right? So
I don't
now
know.
I'm just based on your scenario.
Yes.
Right? So
I'm rocking with
Alabama and Florida get in to the playoff, right?
Wait, you changed it up. You lost me. I understand where you're going with this.
Right,
Because
so
you said 3 different schools.
I got to put the Gators in there. So
Okay, so cool. I already know where you're going. I got you.
Okay, so
No, I got you. Hold on, I got you.
LSU.
I got you.
One of those
Sir, I got
teams
you.
that you want to put in there.
Sir, I got you. I already have your answer. I'm ready. I've done
You don't
this.
have my answer.
I got your answer. In your scenario, Alabama's in the championship game in Atlanta against Florida, East versus West. Florida wins the game. I'm going to be nice to the Gators. Florida wins the game. They're the SEC champ. Now they're in. Automatic bid. Power fives, right? They're in. The committee gets to go in the room and decide, who was better? Was Alabama better or was LSU better who got locked out because they lost?
That's not my question.
Okay, so then your scenario would be LSU and Alabama played. LSU was on the outs. They didn't get into the championship. That's not my question. It was your question. It was because you tried.
How are you going to tell me what my question was?
Sir, I watched you already gave me the scenario.
I did
your
not.
scenario is
you didn't
the
let me
loser of the.
You didn't let me finish.
Go ahead. I already heard it. Go ahead.
Okay, so what you didn't hear was so this second team that you're going to put in from the Big 12, right? Right?
Whatever.
Okay, whatever. So if the second team from the Big 12, let's say that that second team played LSU and LSU beat them. Oh.
They never do, so how would that work?
No. Don't change my shit now. I said they played.
Okay, cool. They played. Wait, hold
on a second. Didn't LSU beat Texas last year? Oh, they never played.
Did.
Okay.
Sure did.
Sir, Big 12,
here's my answer. My answer doesn't change. It's very simple.
And I get your answer doesn't change, and it's very simple for me too. That it's unfair.
The committee gets to go in the back and pick 2 teams. I don't care how they get there.
Then you're not getting the best people in the country.
I think your system is flawed, Clyde, and I'll tell you why.
Terribly flawed.
It's not flawed at all.
Look,
terribly flawed.
Here's why.
It's brilliant.
The conferences are irrelevant, so let's just a conference, two conference teams play the first game of the season, right? Conference X. That way we won't have any conference bias. Conference X, the first game of the season on national television, preseason 1 versus 3, bang. One of those teams loses, right? They're in the same conference, okay?
Yeah.
And they're on the same side of the conference, right? Now, both of those 2 teams then win out.
Run the tape.
Right? So one is 11-0, one is 10-1.
Yep.
Right? With a loss to the one that's 11-0.
Yep.
And then there's 10-0 or 11-0 or whatever on the other side.
Yep.
Right? So East is 11-0, West 11-0, West number 2 is 10-1.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
West champion loses to East. East is 12-0. West is the loser 11-1. And second place, not even in the game, who lost the first game of the season, who's now the hottest team in the country, have won 11 straight games, is 11-1. And you're trying to tell me that all 3 of those teams don't belong in the top 8. You're drunk and high at the same time. 16 is the answer.
Wait. You didn't listen to me because you noticed. Not once. No, I didn't. I said I'm good with an 8-team playoff. I also said
you said 3 can't get in, and I'm telling you that.
Sir, I never said top 8 teams in the country. I don't give a damn about the top 8 teams in the country. Let's just change the subject because you can't have a championship if you don't have the best freaking teams there.
You said you want a true championship. You got to have the best teams in the country.
But that's all subjective. Wait a minute.
I'm going to go back to your rant earlier about track and field. I want the best people there.
Yes, but in our sport, we know how we – no, wait. See, you can't do that. In our sport, we know who the best people are. You know why? Because they have to line up and race each other to get into the dance.
If LSU beats Texas, and Texas is the number 2 team from the Big 12, and LSU is our 3rd, who's better? LSU.
I don't know. Go in the back room and make your choice.
I don't have to go in the back room because we kicked it earlier in the year.
Cool, whatever. Make your choice.
This is why I said 16 because at 16 there is no argument. What
But
I'm
see,
trying
but
to
no,
tell you is,
wait, I'm with you on that.
But
bottom line is
But
this.
Lamar,
Bottom line is
the
this.
arguing about who should and who shouldn't is part of the grandiose culture of.
but I'm good with that.
You're just
without
promoting
having any of that.
teams based on whatever. Okay, whatever.
No, it's not based on whatever.
If you want to have a true national championship, every
you don't want the best teams. You don't want the best teams in the game.
Exactly. And what I'm saying to you is, nope.
+2 gives you
because there could be years. Let's remember the year that nobody wanted Ohio State in because they were the Big Ten runner-ups and they curb stomped everybody.
Yeah, and in that scenario, they would have been in. They would have been
16 gets everybody in.
In my scenario, LSU belongs in over that team too because they beat them.
Then they can get in.
But they're the third SEC team.
They can be chosen, sir. See, your problem with your example was
you said you can't take three.
I did say that, and that's the part where y'all start. Wait a minute. That's the part where y'all started hollering and didn't hear me. So again, what I said was, pick a conference.
We're gonna rewind this tape.
Pick the conference. A conference championship game has 2 teams in it.
Yes.
Okay, they're gonna play, and someone's gonna lose. Yes. I totally disavow the idea that the loser automatically should go in over the third place team that didn't get to play. So
you're saying only 2 can get in.
That's right. So you go back in the room.
I disagree with that.
You go back in the room and you decide between the team who got locked out
what
and
I'm
the team
saying
who
is
lost in the championship game.
In that rare year, like the Ohio State year when Ohio State got in their second Big Ten team, right? Okay, let me finish.
2 is fine. I'm good with 2.
I was gonna say, and you're good with 2. I'm good with 3.
That's fine. But you asked me how I would do it.
Right, and exactly, and I'm
just
and that
is fair. And I'll say this: the reason that I said 16 is because I really like 12, but that's complicated because then you got 4 teams with buys.
You got buys.
So I just
because I like 12 better
16,
myself.
Look, 12 is ideal, but it's not ideal as far as optics because you got 4 teams with buys, which means you get semantics again, right? I am a fan of 16 because then there is no, excuse my language, bullshit. All 16 teams belong, and there is nothing to be heard from 17. And now 16 plays 1, and we just did it.
No, listen, 16 is not as bad on the numbers as people like to suggest that it is. 16 only means 4 weeks of games.
That's what my point. 16, right? If we play a 10-game regular season, right? No, we don't need to see 6-6 versus 6-6. Like I'm tired of that BS. 10 games is enough to figure out who the friggin' best 16 teams are.
So wait.
Put them in the tournament and let's do it.
Okay, so here's
if you got 16 teams, can the league get three or more teams in?
Absolutely.
Wait a minute. Sir.
You can get 4.
Lucius, I have a question for you, sir. How many? Because it's a little nuanced because it's football. How many Division I was FCS? That's the bigger one, right? FCS, FBS.
No, FBS, football
FBS.
bowl subdivision.
Right. How many Division I FBS conferences are there?
Conferences?
Yes.
It's like 20 something, isn't it?
Conferences? No.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Is that many?
Yeah. It's like 20 something.
If it's that many,
it's 32 in basketball. And it's
but that's the point. In basketball, they're not all on the same level.
What I'm saying, like, it's 32 in basketball, but the vast majority of them play football at Division I level, at FBS level too. The Big East doesn't.
Right.
There's quite a few that don't, right? Because they're more basketball conferences, but most of them are FCS. Think about all the schools that go to bowl games. All of them are in FBS level.
Okay, so anyway, I don't know I need to know the answer to that question. Oh, Chu knows it. How many are there?
There are 10 FBS conferences.
That's what I thought. Okay, cool. So
what?
I knew your number was way too high. So since
there's 130 teams.
Yes, but there's not that many conferences at the FBS level. So since there's 10, you want 16. Now all 10 champions have to get in, and you pick the at-large 6. Everybody,
you know what's funny?
champions
You know what's
get
funny?
a shot.
We still wouldn't lose anybody.
Whatever. But if we're going to 16, I want all 10 champions in over these third and fourth place.
Timeout.
BS
We
teams.
know the Power Five. So then you got Mountain West is 6.
American 7.
Is it AAC? Is that right?
AAC,
That's that group. That's 7, right? The
I got
what's
it.
the
Do you want to hear it?
conference?
I can talk to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank
Yes,
you.
please. I need to hear this.
American, ACC, Big 12, Big 10, Conference USA. Oh, geez. Mid-American.
Mm-hmm.
That's the MAC, yes.
Man.
Oh, yeah, the MAC. Mountain West, Pac-12, SEC, Sun Belt.
There it is. Those 10 champions are in. And
I'm out.
after that, you got
I'm
6 more.
I'm out.
You got 6 more.
I'm out.
And again, in that example,
I
no
watched
more
it.
than 3 from any one conference.
See, there we go again. I'm out of that mess.
No more than 3.
Because then that is not a true national championship either. So.
Sure it is.
No, it's
And
not.
here's what I'm gonna
Well,
tell
in
you.
your mind
Look,
it is, and that's
Earn your
Lucius,
way in.
exactly.
Earn.
Lucius, don't
Win
don't
something.
fall prey
Yeah.
to
So the
Clyde
MAC
nonsense.
champion gets in over the third place SEC team. Sure.
No,
No, I just
it's
said
not
in
gonna
that
happen.
example, if we're going 16,
Because-
you can have 3. But you can't have 4.
because if you look,
You get
trust
4.
me when I tell you, if you take the top 16 teams in the country, worst case scenario, 9 of the 10 conference champions are in that group.
No way. No
Okay.
way. No
Okay,
way.
look at do the math and look it up every year, buddy.
We can
The
do
Mountain
that.
West champion is always in the top 16. The Mountain West champion is usually Boise State.
No, that's cool. I'm good with that. There's 10. And there ain't 10 champions in the top 16 every year. You're crazy. You're high.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of years when there's 5 SEC teams in the top 15.
Right. So the
See,
only other two things,
and that's the crust of this problem is we think that
the only
there's
other
some
2
bias
things
here,
that absolutely, if you
at the
want
end
to
of
have,
the day,
if you want to have a legitimate championship,
we're in-
if you want to have a legitimate championship, the other 2 things that absolutely need to change, like right now, and very easily could, except it's all about the manipulation. There should be 0 rankings done at all. Preseason rankings need to go away. There should be no
Okay, I'll buy
rankings
that.
done until the first month of the season is over. Because what happens
buy
is
that.
the preseason rankings come out, and then you get credit for beating or losing to a team that had no business being ranked as high as they were at the time. I'm sorry, LSU is not the number 3 team in the country, and they just proved that this weekend, getting stomped around by Mississippi State. But Mississippi State's going to get more credit than they deserve for beating the number 3 team, and LSU is going to be able to climb back up in the rankings because they started at 3 and only dropped so far. No
I
rankings.
can buy that.
None.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that has to happen, or else all of this goes away. Notre Dame has to pick a conference.
Actually, I think the COVID is trapped. I mean, for right now, they're playing an ACC schedule because of COVID. I think they might get trapped.
They've been playing an ACC champion, but they have to be in a conference.
No, what I'm saying is I think all of this mess going on is going to force them into a conference now. I think
It's
so.
not going to happen.
Nope. Not Notre Dame.
Remember, Notre Dame is the only school that's not included in the TV contracts because they have their own contract with them.
That's right. It's all about the TV money.
So what I'm telling you is they're not going to be forced to do anything.
Well,
They don't share that money with anybody.
I get it, and that's the problem with the
But
whole
what has
sport
to
and
happen
stuff.
if we're going to have a true national championship is Notre Dame has to be in a conference,
I'm with that. They should be.
as does BYU.
I'm with that. They should be. The problem with all of this is it's all nonsense driven by TV revenue dollars, not about who's the best teams. It's never been about who's the best teams.
It's all a fantasy because we're going to wake up tomorrow morning and realize that there are still only 4 teams that are going to be considered for the national championship in college football.
Look, I'm wide awake with that mess right now.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, like we can spit any kind of spin you want to put on this. But at the end of the day, this idea that this is just like a total joke, that's disrespectful.
I mean it to be disrespectful.
No, I don't know you do, but hey, look, okay, I'm good. Look, I let you talk for a long time, and so I'm just telling you that, like, have a little respect for what they do, because we're not going to act like, okay, the best team in the country never wins the national championship.
We don't know who the best team in the country is.
No, you don't know. You don't know.
Never know.
You never know. The rest of us do. Exactly. But based on your opinion. And again, I let you rant for like 20 minutes. I didn't say a word. I sat here very quietly. Okay?
Chew what we got next, because obviously this is the one thing we will never agree on.
Like, look, I'm not trying to agree on anything with anybody. But if you're entitled to your opinion, I'm entitled to mine. So I'm saying that those 4 teams line up. They knock the crap out of each other. They come back in 2 weeks and do it again. You get a national champion. Kudos to the people that win a national championship because they do what they're required to do.
I am a fan of that thought process.
Wait a minute. I agree with you on that, but you misunderstand me. You misunderstand me. I'm not suggesting for 1 second that the kids aren't amazing and the coaches aren't amazing and the programs aren't grinding and doing their job under a system that they are forced to play under. I'm with all of that. I get you. The disrespect, the contempt that I have is for the idea of how the idea that is propagated on us, the viewer, the system is backwards. It's the only sport in America that has this function.
Look. That's your opinion. And I heard you. And I
so my disrespect is not for the coaches and the players.
Hold on a second. Whatever your disdain is, whatever your disrespect is, that's on you. I'm just saying I'm cool with it. Just like you're not cool with it, I'm cool with it. I'm good. I love the college football playoff. That's the only time I watch college football, really, unless it's the Gators. Only time I watch it. So I love it. Can't wait for it every year. Especially because look, if Ohio State or Florida's in there, which they are mostly, one of them there almost every year, I got something to watch. So I'm a big fan.
You already know who's gonna be in it if anyone has their team. You already know who's in it. We can name 3 of the teams right now.
Yeah.
Hell or high water, we know who's gonna be in it.
Well, if you agree, disagree, or have a better option, please comment. Comment
whatever
below.
you do, don't email me because I don't want to hear that. I'm good with that mess.
All righty. Well, rapid fire.
Oh,
Lamar, I need you to
sit up straight, brother.
Sit up straight. Fix that hat. Fix that right.
I'm back at it, huh?
Yep. Fix your hat. Get ready, boy.
I'm back at it, huh? You talking smack about my AirPods?
I am, because this was like this.
Can I interject real quick because this will play well when the viewers ultimately watch it. I would just like y'all to understand, in the real world, it's Wednesday night. We are so dedicated to this. We're doing this in the middle of the NBA Finals, and for everybody that was talking about this is going to be exciting, it's the third quarter. It's 91-65 Lakers.
Oh.
I will just say this to champion that same cause. I am certifiably the biggest Yankee fan in the history of Yankee fans, and the game is going on currently. And I refuse to look at my phone because I don't want to know the score because I'm going to watch the game whenever we're done. Because we fight for you guys. Let's go. I am not afraid. See that? You see that? These are my guys right here. I want to tell you something. I've lived a blessed life, and I've gotten to meet and talk to, and I'm friends with both of these 2 guys. I feel like I cheated myself, and I didn't meet him while he was alive. But at the end of the day, this is what it's all about. Let's go.
Well said. Well said. All right, sir. You prepped? You ready to go?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go.
I don't know. I don't have.
Ew. Lie about it.
I don't have any on, so.
Lord.
You asked.
All right, here we go.
I think they're clean there upstairs.
Oh my Gina, stop it. E40 or too short?
E40.
Hot dogs or bratwurst?
Bratwurst. Oh my God, that's not even a contest.
North Face jackets or goose down parkas?
A bubble goose. I'm a New Yorker.
That was intentional. When doves cry or diamonds and pearls?
Dig, if you will, a picture. Look it up if you're not a Prince fan. You should know what that answer was.
Are you helping any of the non-Prince fans? We all got it.
When doves cry.
Yeah, but your singing is pushing people to the other side.
Listen, you keep it up. I'm gonna sing all of Adore.
Hank Aaron or Willie Mays?
Willie Mays.
Best topping on pizza?
Pepperoni.
Really?
Wait, why the face?
Because
Pineapple.
it's so plain.
You said best topping.
I know.
Hello? I like
love
vanilla
peanut
ice cream
butter.
too. Get over it.
Long jump or the 100-meter sprint?
For me or period?
For you.
Long jump.
Got it. Baseball coach or track and field coach?
Woo! Track and field coach.
Reese's peanut butter cups or Reese's Pieces?
Stop it. Reese's peanut butter cups.
All right, you're good. You survived.
I was ready. I was disrespectful with the Reese's Pieces. Stop it.
I had to make it fun. I had to lighten the mood.
You know what? I appreciate that. That was a good one. I am ready. Rapid fire is a lot of fun, by the way. I just want to say that for the record.
It's so stressful on me because I have to research. I have to research you guys. So West Coast, North Face North Face jackets. East Coast, sorry, I forgot the word bubble. My apologies. Or the goose down parkas. So.
Dude, I got into a fight with a kid because I didn't have on a bubble goose when I was a kid.
Fake.
I'm right. I couldn't afford it. You know, like the rest of the outfit matched, but I didn't have on a bubble goose. And dude was like, you know, all up to my grill about some nonsense about my coat. And I was like, okay, what you gonna do about it? So anyway, you know, I fought a lot as a kid. Sorry.
Okay.
It's Lucius's fault. Whatever it is, it's Lucius's fault.
Everything's my fault.
All right. So
if he would have been there, I wouldn't have been in these fights. I would have been a better person.
So
anyway, sorry.
Let's redeem our hearts. And let's give some heartbeat props. Do we have anybody who's yearning to go first?
I think you should go first. You never go first.
I've definitely gone first off.
Yeah,
Second
once.
off, I will more than happy go first because I actually like mine. Mine means something this week. Not that they don't mean anything.
I was like, what you trying to say? They don't normally mean nothing?
I mean, no, I'm just kidding.
Oh, I forgot. Last week's was trash. My bad.
My heartbeat props this week actually go out to Mr. Clyde. So here is why. And I don't even know if he remembers this or not. And yeah, seriously, because, you know, we talk about how heartbeat props get us to where we are now, how we sit, how we stand, so on and so forth, right? So internally for me, when I first got into collegiate coaching, you know, Clyde and I were in the same city. He was at RU, I was at San Francisco State. I didn't know nothing. I was just trying to not get fired by first year. So I kind of just rode the wave and didn't put any ripples in the water unnecessarily. Well, that year we had actually crossed paths quite a few times at several meets, a couple indoor meets and whatnot. And so being naive, I listened to the ground. I listened to the waves in the air. I listened to the words that were being spoken about him. And I had formulated a thought very naively. And so I just did that because I didn't know any better. So a couple years pass and I actually learn who Clyde is. I get to know him. We become friends. You know, as he would say, he put me in the whip when we rode out to get food. Like, it was good. We broke bread, right? And so on one of these trips, and I can't remember what the scenario was, but I came clean. And I said, I have to be honest with you. When we first were in the same city, I just listened to everybody. And, you know, I didn't have great thoughts about you and it was all hearsay. And he let me know why those things were being said. And he quote unquote coached me through that moment of like, hey, and this is how I heard it. Maybe you were saying F you and I just didn't realize it. But I heard, hey, I understand your words. Maybe I don't like them, but this is how you're going to grow from this. And so literally from that point on, you know, that point and a couple other things that happened within those years, I was like, man, I can't be a sucky person. Like, I can't form these judgments on people who I don't even know, that I haven't talked to. Like, that's just, one, not fair. Two, that's inhumane, honestly. And having, I think this is either my 5th or 6th in collegiate at this point, knowing how some of these rumors start, knowing the rumors that are 1,000% false, how they get trickled out into the way they're formulated at this point when they hear like 6th step ears. It's unreal. It really is. And so my heartbeat props go out to you, Clyde, for allowing me to be wrong, for not hating me for saying that out loud, and like throwing me, if we were in a car, throwing me out of the car. But also showing me like how to be a good person and to listen and not to be judgmental. So I appreciate you. Thank you very much, sir.
Oh, thank you. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe that was one of our convention adventures that got worked out. So
yeah.
Hey, I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ooh.
She threw me off. There's no way I can go next, so just go ahead.
All right, so I'll go. And you guys bear with me because this is a tough one.
I appreciate you going. I'm just going to say that.
Okay, talk to me in about 2 minutes and we'll see if you still appreciate me going. So my heartbeat props go out to a young man who absolutely from the moment I met him just captured my heart. And he walked up to me and sat down beside me at the pin relays. And he told me that he wasn't the fastest guy. He didn't have flashy numbers, but he promised me if I gave him a chance, he would come to the University of Florida and that nobody would ever outwork him, that nobody would ever be a harder worker than he was. And
I hate you. I just want to say that for the record.
Okay.
I hate you.
Okay. So this young man came to the University of Florida, and from day one, he grinded. Came to practice every day. He would look me in the eye and tell me, you can't break me. And even when I broke him, he would crawl into the locker room and fall out and never let me know that I did break him. And he ended up being a team that was called a collegiate record holding team. Indoors, he is a guy that still on the relay team that set the pin relays record. He's a young man. I don't even know if he had his high school PR in the 400. He ran the 500 because he's from Maryland, and he came here and he ran 46 seconds. He split 44. Famously for Lamar, he ran down Kelly Willie in a 4x4. And this guy's my heartbeat props because somehow whenever he needs me or wherever I need him, we're just connected. And I just need to let him know how much I appreciate him, what he did for this program, the fire, the drive, the determination, the passion that he put in, into this, what he did every single day. Unfortunately, he lost both of his parents within a 10-day span over the last couple of weeks. And true to him, when I called him on the phone and in our discussion, I got off the phone, I felt like he was trying to cheer me up, which made no sense to me. But that's who he is, and that's what he does, and that's what he does for me. And my heartbeat props go out to one Mr. Stephen Pastor. I love you, man. I got to make sure you get to see this, but I make no bones about it. Never had anybody work as hard as that guy, and he is a true Gator. Love you, dog. How you like me now, Lamar?
So I'm going to let the rest of the world into a very, 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 very private moment between Lucius and myself. Stephen Pasteur is my favorite Gator and will always be, for like a million reasons. But I think reason number 1A with a bullet is talent-wise, he never belonged, but you could never ever tell that. And I used to always tell Lucius, if there's one you got to ride with, you got to ride with that one. And it's funny because he never argued with me. Like, that dude was never close to the most talented guy on any relay team he was on, but he was always the most important guy. Every time. No question. And you could ask the more talented guys and they would tell you that.
Right. Never ran bad with Stephen on the relay. Yeah.
Never. And if you ask the more talented guys on the relay, they would tell you Stephen is the reason that they did what they did. Because Steph kept everybody on point and kept them honest and made them. If I'll say it like this, if I had to pick a human being over the last 20 years that you have coached that indemnifies like what it means to be a Gator and like how we do things here, so to speak, it would be Stephen Pasteur. So Steph probably has no idea that I feel this way about him because like I ain't never been a Gator coach and blah 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 blah. But anyway, thanks you, Lucius. No tears though. I'm good because I just love that dude. So you know that. Man. Wow. I think I just got like mind blanked. My heartbeat props is for someone who I am 1,000,000% sure does not watch this show, and I'm gonna have to figure out how to make sure that he gets to see this episode. So when I was a kid, so one of my heartbeat props in the past has been my father, right? But if you remember correctly from the episode, I said when I was a kid, my dad was not in the house. And my dad and I are who we are basically since I was a high school senior and beyond. So the person who was my father, the person who taught me how to be a man, made me believe that no blood, no foul was actually was actually like the rules of basketball. The person who taught me that a man is nothing but his code and his name. And the person who I'm 1,000% sure will be mad at me for saying any of these things because the era he grew up in, men didn't say I love you. And it's weird because I might not love any other person like that's outside of my immediate, I mean, he's my uncle. So like outside of my household, I might not love another human being more than him. But the words I love you have never passed through his lips to me, nor mine to his, for different reasons. Him to me because that's not what men do. You just know. And me to him because I never wanted to embarrass him. Like I said it once, I did. And he was so uncomfortable that I will never say it again. But my uncle's name is William Benjamin Gay, and he's the greatest father that I could ever have had, I'll say, in the absence of my father. And he did an incredible job of being a dad and never besmirching the name of my dad. They were actually in the service together, as odd as that is. They used to play basketball against each other, and they have like 9 million mutual friends. But my heartbeat props tonight go to my uncle, Bill Gay, who, for all intents and purposes, taught me the tenets of what it took to become a man. And I would say most of the things that I try to teach my children come from things I learned from him. So my heartbeat props go to one of my favorite people on this planet, my uncle, William B. Gay.
All right. I've avoided this one for a while because I don't know if I can get through it. But for whatever reason, I think I'm gonna be able to pull it off today. My heartbeat props this evening go out to Miss Gina Ryan, who is my mother. Easily and forever my biggest fan. Someone who has always, even when it wasn't convenient or easy to do so, has always been my unbreakable supporter. This woman, she's incredible. My entire family are educators, and my mother is a special ed teacher for her entire life. And she's managed to raise two pretty incredible kids through, from what I consider to be just totally unforeseen and unfair circumstances. People that know me well know that as much as I love my father, and I do, my father died when I was 11 years old through a cocaine and heroin overdose. My father was an addict, like many of the Black side of my family. And so my mother, with an 11-year-old and a 9-year-old, also found out shortly after that through his heroin addiction, he had contracted HIV and gave it to my mother. So in the 90s, while all of that was going on, I mean, my mother lost her husband, and the medical information at the time said that she would not be alive to see me graduate from high school. I can't imagine how scary that was for her. I have no idea how she was able to stand up and raise us in the way that she did. But all the milestones in my life, I'm just fortunate to know that she's still around to see them. And she absolutely watches this show and has watched it from day one. She's even submitted questions and, sent me some ties for the show. But through high school graduation, through attending her alma mater, UCLA, which is ultimately her and John Smith are the only reason I did that. Me moving across the country and being estranged from her for a majority of my adult life, like she's just always there. She's always, been everything I've ever needed her to be. And she doesn't know a lot about the sport, but she just cares about the things that her kids care about. And she's an educator, she's a teacher, and she has an amazing impact on all of the students that she encounters. Kids that were in her classroom 20 years ago still look at her favorably and remember the things that she's taught them. And she's the strongest woman I know. And, here I am turning 40 next year, and she's still here. And that's amazing to me, and something that I'm very, very grateful for. And like I said, everything that I've ever done in my life that's meant anything, I've done that for her, to try to live up to the example that she set forth for me. I've learned everything from my mother. And, if anybody is ever confused about why I am the way I am, and why I'm passionate the way I am, and why my mouth is smart, and why I curse, and why I do all the things that I do, that's Gina. That's my mother. An amazing woman. And, she will continue to be everything to me, and I hopefully can continue to do things that will make her proud of me. Love you, lady. Thank you for fuck everything. And I'm gonna keep trying to make you proud.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I'm gonna watch my mouth knowing that she watches it. Now I'm like, I can't swear ever again.
Oh no, no. You miss. She cusses all the time.
Oh.
All the time.
Oh, but still, that's your mom. I still can't do that.
True. We answer the phone cussing. Like that's what we do. That's what we do.
Gosh, I love it. I love it. Well, she sounds amazing. Amazing. Well, gentlemen, as always, we always manage to go here to out of the screen and then land here nice and soft. And not soft because we're soft, but soft because we know how to end an episode just right. Get everybody's emotions up, and then we make them all lovey-dovey again. So for that, I appreciate the three of you. As always, thank you to our viewers. Thank you for everyone submitting questions to the four of us. Thank you for your suggestions, because you all keep this show going strong. And other than that, till the next time, we'll see y'all later. Bye.
Take your ass to vote.
Yes.
Indeed.
Yes.
Vote.
Vote. Go vote. Know when the last day for your registration is.
Yes, get registered.
Do
Go vote.
that now. Okay. Thank you. Bye.